So let's talk about the Tartufo bucket myth and what goes on with it.
Here is the M3 with the Tartufo bucket seat.
With Tartufo Buckets.
Tartufo buckets.
Best part about it, can't get them. Tartufo Buckets.
Check out the new whip. It's got Tartufo bucket seats.
Tartufo Buckets.
Tartufo Buckets. Oh.
Tartufo carbon fiber buckets.
Tartufo buckets.
Few high-performance cars excite us like the BMW M3.
Right. This is the performance car yardstick. It's the BMW M3.
Whether or not you're a fan of BMWs, the M3 is unquestionably an enthusiast car.
We have a BMW M3. What does that M stand for?
Man.
The BMW M3 and M4, which is what the two-door coupe version became known as in later generations. Legendary enthusiast car with decades of heritage. The sporty, performance-oriented version of the iconic 3 Series sedan. From the nostalgic original E30 to the E90 with its ferocious, naturally aspirated V8, everyone has a favorite, and for a lot of people, it's a somewhat attainable car to aspire to. It's basically the hot hatch concept, but with a luxury car on a rear-wheel drive longitudinal platform. It's got a good chunk of the performance and engagement of a dedicated sports car, but in a package that's eminently more usable and comfortable day-to-day than something like a Ferrari, not to mention far less ostentatious. It's one car to do it all. That's always been the pitch here. A car that's equally comfortable taking the kids to school and getting groceries as it is on a winding back road or occasional track day. 4 doors, if you want them, usable back seats, a real trunk, along with a decently luxurious interior and smooth driving characteristics. At the end of the day, despite all the performance, it's a 3 Series, the benchmark luxury compact sedan, BMW's bread and butter.
But no, you want a car that's a little more familiar, that echoes perhaps a more sensible choice, but still stands out in the company car park. Though not too much, because it doesn't want to upset the bosses. In fact, what you want is a car that your fleet manager is going to let you have. Enter the BMW 3 Series Coupe.
BMW doesn't consistently do dedicated sports cars. The M3, while not their most expensive car, is kind of the heart of the brand, a halo car, a source of pride. There has been competition over the years from BMW's 2 main German rivals, the Audi RS4/5 and the Mercedes-AMG C63. But the M3 has always been the gold standard in this class, and remained an automotive icon since its inception alongside mainstay nameplates like the Porsche 911, with each generation building on its legacy. While its appeal has always been somewhat broad, it's the kind of car you'd expect to see parked in front of a doctor's office or a Fortune 500 company. A classy, kind of understated alternative to a 2-door sports car that's been a consistently solid pick throughout the decades that it's been in production. That kind of changed with the current generation M3, known internally as G80, introduced in the 2021 model year. Now, I distinctly remember seeing the first leaked photo of this thing and making fun of it for looking like a beaver and going like this whenever I saw it. I also remember this BMW promotional video where they talk about how they removed steering feel on purpose.
We put a lot of effort into eliminating disturbance from the steering system, such as the force generated by friction.
Now, it's par for course for every new generation of an iconic enthusiast car to be initially controversial before it's eventually accepted. But this was kind of different. It really is arguably the biggest shakeup in the history of the M3. It seemed like they had finally taken that one step too far in the pursuit of paper specs and luxury features, completely abandoning its original enthusiast intentions. It weighs a lot, it's kinda big, and there's far more emphasis on tech. It's the first M3 to introduce optional xDrive, BMW's all-wheel drive system. A manual transmission is only available on the low-output base model, and the automatic went from a dual-clutch to a ZF 8-speed torque converter similar to what you find on more pedestrian BMW models. But I would say by far what really caught people up was the looks. It was such a radical departure from a traditionally reserved, mature car, and now looked substantially different from the standard 3 Series. The opposite of a sleeper. Fans, purists, and just general car enthusiasts panned it before it was even out, and while it delivered on raw performance, initial reviews focused on its numb, disconnected feel. It seemed like the reign of the M3 as the king of hot luxury sedans might finally be coming to a close. But instead, something very different happened.
311 complaints about drag racing in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan are up more than 1,000%.
I know, I saw him. I'm chilling. Nah, they weren't on me. You want to do it again right now? Got more. It's 100 in the spot. It's 85 just to walk. Cause a lot of these I'm feeling horny. And I shoot like Robert Horry. I'm off this percolated. I got a percolated. I give it this percolated. I show it as percolated tricks. Possible, they know who in the city. Possible, you can ask Diddy. Possible, super city. Possible, going 50.
What's up, everybody? I'm about to be home real soon. I can't wait to get out of here.
What's called swimming, where drivers weave through traffic at high speeds.
All those rappers talking about they the king of New York, this, and that. I'm the king of New York.
Instead of suffering a tragic fate like the EV Dodge Charger or the hybrid 4-cylinder AMG C63, something much more interesting happened with the new M3. It found a new identity for itself, and a very different audience to go along with it. And to understand how that transformation took place, I paid a visit to the city that has played a major role in defining the new identity of the BMW M3.
Look, but he gon' get that, send shots, make him get back. All that chit chat, riff rap, my they into that. We talking hopper, he ain't on. I got like 50 rounds up in this clip. If I know the jump, I'll be the fit. Cause mommy still gon' love a kid. Gotta lock me up and give me a bed. I'm like, the pig, the judge like, why you acting like it? I said I'm moving like
nice. I would think it'd be Chinese is all.
I said I pop up and feel amazing. Shoot for the stars, I'm a foundation. Look at the money I'm raising. She wanna hold on. She stuck in a book, have a wait for arraignment. She get edible arrangements. That's the only form of payment. Shorty a snack.
I'm standing on top of the Belt Parkway, a 25-mile stretch of road in New York City. Whether you realize it or not, you've probably seen at least one clip of extremely reckless driving on this road, or another road like it in the New York metropolitan area.
Bro, and it's the Belt Parkway, man. The Belt Parkway sucks.
Swimming, floating, cutting up. An aggressive driving style characterized by daring, if not outright dangerous, lane changes and passes at high speeds, typically on multi-lane highways. These types of videos have blown up in the last few years, with New York-based drivers like Squeeze Benz, License, Where's 981, and countless other affiliates and random copycats racking up millions of followers and hundreds of millions of views across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And 9 times out of 10, the video has some kind of BMW in it, oftentimes an M3. So how did we get here, and what's up with all the Beamers? If you're from the Northeast, you'll know that a lot of people here just do not know how to use a multi-lane highway properly. They don't understand that the left lane is the passing lane and refuse to get out of it, riding parallel to other cars for no reason. They brake for no reason, don't zipper merge, and slow down to look at accidents and all sorts of other things. All of this artificially worsens or sometimes even creates traffic. More aggressive drivers see that, get frustrated, and take matters into their own hands, passing on the right, speeding to get by, taking whatever gaps they can find to get ahead. This driving style has always existed, and while I'm not endorsing it, it's a response to a very real problem of poor road manners. If people used the road properly, it wouldn't even be possible to drive like this. What changed is that a few years ago, some of New York's most aggressive drivers turned that driving style into a competitive sport on YouTube. The prize? Money and fame, or infamy depending on how you look at it. What originally started as COVID-era speed runs on the Jackie Robinson and seeing who could get through traffic the fastest, escalated to being a display of who valued their life and the lives of those around them the least. The closest cuts, the nearest misses, the highest top speeds, regular police chases, and sometimes even purposefully setting out to attract police attention like it's a GTA Online lobby. Some of these videos are genuinely surreal to watch. Sustained speeds so high and cuts so quick that it doesn't even look real. Drifting around Newark like it's a Need for Speed level. Takeovers at Times Square with the NYPD looking completely helpless to stop it.
And that's where the danger comes in, because now it turns into like a competition. And It's like a race. It turns into a race.
It's a trend that was always destined to become the most extreme version of itself. And while a lot of the attention these videos have garnered has been negative, critical of the danger it poses to innocent, unwilling participants, it's attention nonetheless, further feeding the algorithmic beast. Some people just can't look away, despite admitting how dangerous it is, while others, mostly younger men and teenagers, think it's the coolest thing they've ever seen, and some inevitably go on to emulate it. But I'd argue none of this is anything new. Flashy criminal acts and the people that carry them out have always been begrudgingly admired by many and eventually commodified into popular culture, with the controversy eventually fading away over time. While the swimming scene is admittedly particularly antisocial, doing crazy, illegal, dangerous shit on public roads has been an integral part of car culture for basically as long as fast cars have existed, and people kinda can't get enough of it. NASCAR, beloved American institution, has its roots in bootleggers running from the police. Fast and Furious turned illegal street racing into one of the biggest film franchises ever. And the Japanese manga/anime/game Wangan Midnight took heavy inspiration from the infamous Midnight Club, as did the Rockstar games. Part of what makes this New York swim scene so potent is that it's already doing a great job of marketing itself in the here and now. The location of New York City is inherently iconic, and this scene frequently collaborates with other scenes in New York. The distinctive drill music that plays in the background of these videos has become almost like a branding element. Tracks from local rappers like S.Go and Kyle Rich, the latter of which went for a swim session with License, who himself also hopped on a track. You've also got side characters like M-Box, someone who is not even known for being a driver that makes his own music and videos that are exclusively themed around swim culture. And then there's the whole matter of where these rather suspiciously expensive cars are being sourced from, which is apparently a mixture of rentals, strikers, aka stolen cars with hot VINs that are quickly sold for pennies on the dollar via IG and Facebook Marketplace, and rentals that are also strikers.
But instead of spending $100,000, let's say for this track hawk, you could spend like $5,000 on it.
I don't know what's a VIN. I gotta do my research.
Okay, so basically every single one of these cars is stolen.
It's its own little world, and that's always compelling. It has a mystique to it that people are drawn to, as flamboyant criminal scenes often do. For better or worse, all of this is absolutely going to be looked back upon as a distinct era not just in car culture, but for New York as well. However, the trend of filming videos of this driving style has long since spread far beyond New York, and awareness of the concept is quite high, to the point where parodies and memes are made about it, and engagement bait accounts repost videos of it to intentionally stir up outrage. There's a lot more that could be said about the influence of movements like this, as well as the consequences. But to get back to the point, any car culture movement with this much attention on it is inevitably going to put a spotlight on the vehicles used. In this case, those vehicles are overwhelmingly BMWs, with the G80 M3 and M4 specifically emerging as the most desirable, seemingly meta pick, to the point where it's almost fetishized. You see it everywhere, being driven in the videos, in the background of the videos, its CG likeness being used for the intro of the video, people posing in front of it for IG pics, music videos, and album art. Just like how someone like Smokey Nagata helped to build the legend of the GTR and the Supra, these guys' affinity for BMWs has helped to establish the brand's dominance in 2020's car culture. But why? Why BMWs specifically, and not Hellcats or Mustangs or any of the other usual suspects? For that, we'll have to switch gears, but first a message from today's sponsor, me. If you're enjoying the video, consider supporting the channel directly by checking out my sticker store at shop.digitalghetto.net. I've got 2 new sticker designs, one a reference to an infamous event last year involving Playboy Cardi, and another about a person who likes to watch, share gaming. Not sure if that word is problematic on YouTube, I guess we're about to find out. Old fan favorites like Free Range Mutt are still alive and kicking, and considering this is a car video, I do have more bumper sticker appropriate designs like Joey Land's signature and Can I Have the Nitrous Today? Links will be everywhere, and now let's get back to the video.
BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
While they've had duds like the XM and the new M5, as well as their fair share of controversial design choices, it doesn't really seem to matter. BMW is just dominating as a brand right now. They're decidedly defeating their two main competitors, Audi and Mercedes. In my opinion, Audi's lineup, with the exception of the RS6, just feels outclassed and boring, especially with their twin-turbo V6 models. I feel Mercedes as a brand has a questionable identity at this point, with their mainstream models being uncompelling compared to the competition, and their AMG performance cars equipped with the signature V8 pushing $200,000 these days. Meanwhile, BMW has like 6 cars that I would consider to be the best in their segment, with the only real competition being Porsche, which at this point is in an entirely different price bracket. At least where I live, it's impossible to go more than 1 minute without seeing like 5 BMW SUVs. But what's really defining their brand right now, both in the streets of New York and the eyes of enthusiasts, is their inline 6-cylinder motors, something that has always been a signature of the brand, but has been seemingly mastered with this current generation. If you're into cars, you may have heard of the B58.
B58 is king! B58 is king! Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
It's a modern legend at this point. It wins industry awards, it's praised by journalists, it's craved by enthusiasts, and despite BMW's reputation, it's known as being one of the most rock-solid, reliable modern engines. It's also shockingly fuel-efficient, something that I feel is often overlooked. You'll find this motor in everything from the base X5 to cars that aren't even BMWs, like the Ineos Grenadier, but the performance-oriented models making waves in the streets are the M240, M340/440, and that one BMW with the Toyota badge on it. In those applications, it's generally rated for 382 horsepower, with claimed 0 to 60 times being around 4 seconds. However, BMW has a reputation of understating its figures. Those 0 to 60 times are often in the high 3s. All these cars are in that high 50s to mid $60,000 price range, and for the money, you'd be hard-pressed to find a way to go faster while still being able to confidently take a turn and stop. If you're willing to void your warranty, throw in a downpipe and a tune, and you're flying.
Over 1,000 bhp, built engine, built box. You told me you wanted podcast.
These cars are already super capable from the factory in their own right, faster than at least 80% of traffic, and you'll see them constantly in those swimming videos, specifically the M340, which can be easily identified in first-person POVs by its lack of M individual buttons on the steering wheel. But if you really want to go fast and have the clout to go along with it, the weapon of choice is the full-fat G80 M3.
God, we got the big boy G80.
Having driven one myself, I can tell you there's definitely a good reason for that. Well, many of them, actually. While the B58 cars are fast in their own right, the M version of the engine, known as the S58, makes the M3 feel like teleportation, especially at highway speeds. It's beefed up with forged internals, more cooling, and most notably features a twin-turbo setup compared to the single twin-scroll turbo found on its little brother. These upgrades result in a motor that's rated between 473 and 543 horsepower, depending on the trim level.
Holy shit, bro.
It's fast as hell, and fast is one thing, but it's effortlessly so. Which is the key thing here. These cars are not just fast, they're easy to drive fast. And again, BMW is underrating their figures here. I mean, just look at the car and driver tested stats of the M3 Competition X-Drive. 0 to 60, 2.8 seconds. 0 to 100, 7 seconds. Quarter mile, 11 seconds flat. This is nearing 911 turbo numbers, almost supercar fast, for less than half the price, and you get 4 doors. And remember, it's not like the M3 is a one-trick pony. This isn't a muscle car that can only go fast in a straight line, or an EV that can only launch and loses steam at the higher end. It's perfectly capable of taking a turn and was designed to sustain high speeds with ease and comfort on the Autobahn. The special edition M3 CS put down a quicker lap time than the R35 GTR and the Audi R8. What modern BMWs may lack in character and engagement, they attempt to overcompensate for with performance, like really overcompensate. It's to the point where, at least on the street, there's no penalty for picking the M3 over dedicated sports cars. If anything, it might be better, especially if you're trying to swim. Compared to a sports car, you've got a longer wheelbase and can get all-wheel drive, which results in better stability and control. You've got better visibility and ride height, both of which are crucial in dense traffic, more comfort, and more isolation from the road. All of the things which are cons for purists ended up being draws for this new audience with different priorities. While the designers had the Autobahn and Nürburgring in mind, it's the perfect weapon for the Belt Parkway. An absolute powerhouse engine that has torque everywhere, and a capable chassis and suspension that can make those super quick split-second cuts in a predictable, controlled fashion. While it initially seems like an odd choice for the swimming demographic, it's not only a logical choice, but if you look at the market right now, it's kind of the only one. While the hot hatch segment is pretty vibrant, albeit quite overpriced these days, those cars are just not run away from the police on a highway with ease levels of fast. The current Mercedes C63 is so undesirable that most people pretend it doesn't even exist, and the recently unveiled new Audi RS5 weighs over 1,000 pounds more than a competition xDrive M3 due to its plug-in hybrid system, all to achieve a claimed 0-60 time that's slower. Meanwhile, serious dedicated sports cars are well over 6 figures now, and at the lower end, aren't even able to keep pace with an M3 comp in terms of paper specs. While it's by no means cheap or even affordable at $80,000 to $100,000 depending on the spec, the level of performance on offer here for the money is untouchable. Realistically, the only competition is other BMWs and the C8 Corvette. When you start comparing it to cars that most people would consider mundane common traffic, it's staggering. It starts to look like the deal of the century. But it's not just performance and value, it's how the culture has embraced it, and while it might not appeal to purists, the G80 M3 is well on its way to cementing a status that is on the level of the GTR and Hellcat. A car that is kind of feared on the street and respected as being undeniably fast and punches way above its price tag in class. And while BMW AG is probably not super proud of it and would certainly never acknowledge it, I think the New York swimming scene undeniably has to take some level of credit for putting the G80 M3 in the spotlight, helping to popularize it with a new, younger audience on social media.
Swear to God, this bitch will make your ass turn your head passing by. If you don't turn your head, bitch, you a hater. Cause mine, this bitch is pressure. Man, quit playing, this bitch is pressure, hey.
On social media, the M3 has seemingly replaced the Hellcat in the past year or two as the first big car purchase after you hit it big. A you fast car that's not impossibly expensive, but still signals you're doing something right with your life. Based on what I've seen anecdotally, the average age of a BMW M3 owner has trended downwards by about 20 years. It's gone from being a nerdy, in-the-know enthusiast car to being flexed on TikTok like a Chrome Hearts chain. 10 years ago, it was Tai Lopez with a Lambo and knowledge. Now it's whoever this guy is in a Nike Tech fleece selling courses with an M4 comp. The amount of posts flexing this car and the amount of views and likes those posts get is staggering. It's like everyone has the car and then gets at least 500,000 likes with it. It's also coincidentally become one of the most commonly crashed cars I now see on social media, which says more about the owners than it does about the car if you ask me. BMW has never really had a moment like this. Sure, there's always been younger guys getting that 120,000-mile 335i that's leaking oil out of every orifice and then drifting it in the middle of the street, and BMW owners have always had a bit of a reputation for aggressive driving manners and a disdain for the turn signal stock. You'd see the brand pop up in rap bars, but not nearly as much as Mercedes or even Porsche, and when it does come up, it's always more of a side dish flex. I've never seen a current generation BMW be the it car like this, and have so much cachet with a younger audience the way a Lambo, a Hellcat, or even a McLaren historically has. I think this is a really interesting cultural moment when you zoom out on it. A lot of different pieces had to come together at the right time to make this happen. First off, BMW as a brand being at the place they are to be able to make something like this at this price point. From an engineering perspective, this is the best M3 ever made in almost every aspect other than weight, and they even managed to make it reliable. Then you have certain scenes taking advantage of that engineering, from tuners making headlines with 1,000 plus horsepower monsters that smoke supercars, to stuff like the swimming videos, all of which builds up the reputation of the car and creates the perfect storm for a viral moment. It also comes at a time where it seems there's been a generational change in what can be considered a cool car or a dream car. Not that the M3 wasn't always a cool car, but it was inherently a compromised pick compared to a dedicated two-door low-to-the-ground sports car. From a performance perspective, it's not really a compromise at all anymore, and in a world where everyone is getting their chicken tendies in some miserable, bloated, homogenized blob crossover SUV painted in grayscale, the once humble sedan now seems compact, athletic, and youthful by comparison. Meanwhile, true sports cars are vanishing, and the ones that are left will have you selling plasma just to make a down payment on the options. The M3 is no longer a stepping stone or a compromise. For many people, this is the special sports car now, and carries the same emotional pull. And the once controversial snout of a front end that makes a G80 impossible to confuse for a regular 3 Series becomes a proud status symbol and a declaration of intent. I have money and want to go fast. Now that everyone loves the G80 M3, seemingly everyone has it. And when everyone has something, how do you flex yours? Well, you differentiate yourself with unique options. As I've mentioned, there are multiple trim levels of the M3 and M4. It starts with the base, which comes exclusively with a 6-speed manual in rear-wheel drive. This is the weakest and slowest of the pack by a pretty considerable margin, though having a manual in and of itself is kind of a flex. But the majority of these cars, especially the ones you'll see blow up on social media, are competition models. Competition models can be rear-wheel drive only or all-wheel drive with xDrive, and I almost never see the rear-wheel drive one, which makes sense. As I mentioned earlier, xDrive enables insane 0 to 60 times, as well as more grip in poor conditions. It's also possible to disable it, essentially turning an xDrive car into a rear-wheel drive car, so it's really all pros no cons with the xDrive other than a minor weight gain. Then comes the fun stuff: buckets, carbon, and lasers. To the uninitiated, it might sound like some kind of ritualistic chant, but these are the 3 most expensive and coveted features you can option on the car.
This is frostbite. Make sure your shit is freshly washed out the laundry when you're getting in my car. Clothes not dirty?
Clothes not dirty.
You sure? Once you scratching my carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is worth more than your whole entire life. Sit there like a good bitch and chill out. This is my carbon fiber. This is my G80.
Lasers refers to BMW's laser headlights, which for some reason seem to no longer be available. Carbon refers to the carbon package, and more specifically, the carbon ceramic brakes which are included in that package. Both of those are cool, but the buckets, you've got to have the buckets. You really can't even flex the car if you don't have them.
No buckets, bro? Bro?
Buckets?
Buckets, yeah.
Buckets.
It has buckets. Kyalami buckets.
Oh, nah, what is this?
Bro, what you mean, bro? Is there something on the seat or something?
You don't have the carbon buckets? What was even the point? You should have got the M340.
So we got a bucket right here, a bucket right here.
These are BMW's racing seats, aggressively bolstered bucket seats that keep you locked in while pulling lateral Gs, which is why racing gaming chairs make no sense, by the way, because you're not going anywhere playing toys at your desk. Now, according to some, the ergonomics and comfort of the buckets are kind of questionable.
The seats actually have CS on them. They're, the bolstering is obviously great. The bolstering's good. I don't need the middle thing. No, like this nut holder, like this is the worst, honestly.
But the main thing is they just look really, really good. The entire back of the seat is this singular carbon piece which looks super intense, visually expensive, and elevates the interior of these cars into something quite special. There's a bunch of cutouts for performative weight savings, or maybe so your rear passengers can tickle you into a tree. I mean, just compare these to the standard seats, which I've seen referred to as sofas. Wouldn't want to get caught having a sofa in your $90,000 M car. But buckets, carbon, and lasers are just the baseline. The real flex is to have an individual color. What's an individual color? Well, it's basically BMW speak for custom order colors, similar to Porsche's paint to sample, although not nearly as expensive. For around $5,000 and an additional wait time, you can pick from an extended menu of colors, some of which are shown on the BMW USA configurator, though the full list, which I found on this BMW corporate website, is substantially longer. I mean, it's crazy. Having a rare or desirable individual color has kind of become the key differentiating flex factor in the G8X world, to the point where the ostensibly more collectible limited edition CS and CSL are somewhat disregarded due to their inability to be spec'd with these colors. In a world where the average car is painted in the boring rainbow of black, white, or trendy flat gray, it's kind of refreshing to see these vibrant and sometimes outlandish colors. It's literally impossible to show all of them, but Ruby Star Neo is a fan favorite, super flashy. I believe it's originally a Porsche color. My personal favorites are Anglesey Green and Velvet Orchid Metallic 2, which I think might be the best paint color I've ever seen on a car. But what if I told you there was an even more exclusive option? One so secretive that some say it's not even possible to have. One that doesn't appear on any official BMW website or press materials. Enter Tartufo Buckets.
Let's settle something. Can you get Tartufo Buckets? The answer is yes, every single time. Guys, I got one car left. Tartufo Buckets. But let's take a look at the inside. Tartufo Buckets. Tartufo Buckets. Talk to me nice. If someone says they can't get you Tartufo Buckets, come to me and I'll make this happen. All right. Look at these bad boys.
A while back, this very confident BMW salesman, username BRG_Jose, landed in my TikTok feed, touting the aforementioned bucket seats in the Tartufo colorway, Tartufo Buckets. Now this caught my attention because, well, Tartufo Buckets sounds really funny even with context.
Tartufo Buckets.
But also, what could possibly be special about that? Tartufo is an option on the configurator, an extended leather interior color named after an Italian dessert. And the bucket seats are also on the configurator. This shouldn't be anything special. Yet the guy was talking it up, making it sound like it's forbidden fruit. He says people might tell you that you can't do it, that you can't have Tartufo on the buckets, but he can make it happen. He's done it like 6-7 times.
This is the third, maybe not third, I'm sorry, this is like the 7th Tartufo bucket car I've ordered.
So after watching that, I went to the configurator, selected Tartufo, then proceeded to select the bucket option, and holy shit, you can't do it. Selecting buckets forces you to remove Tartufo and defaults to black. You cannot do Tartufo on the buckets. Yet here is this guy confidently saying that you can, and he has the proof.
Let's be straight up. Can you do the buckets in Tartufo? Here's your answer. Yes. Yes, you can.
So the whole thing became like a micro meme to me and a few friends because, again, it's just funny. Tartufo Buckets is funny to say.
Tartufo Buckets.
But as my feed kept serving me more BRG Jose and more M3, M4 content, I began to realize how genuinely rare these are and also wondered how the whole thing even came about. So much confusion on these seats. Yes, you can get them if you know what you're doing. Like, what does that mean? What or who do I have to know?
They're not familiar with Individual and what you can do. I am, and that's why you should come to me.
I thought that the majority of my questions could be answered if I was able to find the owner of a car with Tartufo buckets, and so the search began. At first, I thought this would be a relatively simple task. There's a Cars and Coffee that convenes relatively nearby that has a reputation for being really insane. It's the best in my state, and people come to it from out of state. I remembered being there the year prior and seeing rows upon rows of new M3s and M4s. It's entirely possible that I had already shared airspace with Tartufo buckets without even knowing. So, confident in my mission, I set out to the car show. So usually when I come here, all the M3s are right here, but I don't see any. My faith level in finding the buckets is very low right now. It's BMWs, but it's not the right kind of BMWs. These ones can't even have any buckets at all. Oh sh! I'm seeing orange. Oh my god! Not even buckets. It's just sofas in here. Maybe they put some BMWs over here. It's very nice, but there's no buckets, but not Tartufo buckets. It's gotten a lot more crowded since I was last here. There might be Tartufo buckets. He's got like simulated Tartufo buckets. It's like, we have Tartufo buckets at home. Tartufo buckets? Tartufo buckets? Okay, we're cooking. There's more M3s. They're here. Here's one. I'm already predicting no Tartufo buckets. Okay, there's buckets. Okay, not Tartufo though. No Tartufo. It's like ivory or something. Okay, there's another one. Okay, it's a manual. Tartufo buckets? No Tartufo buckets. And sofas. Oh, Tartufo bucket alarm. Sofas. Okay, this is my last attempt. I think the answer is, unfortunately, no. Sofas. Ultimately, this attempt at seeking out the buckets was a failure, and I'd have to regroup and formulate a new method of attack if I wanted to get the answers that I was looking for. I went online and did some research into these things, hoping to at least get some more concrete information than what I was able to find on short-form videos, but what I found kind of just further confused me. A lot of the information was seemingly conflicting. One user on the BMW forum Bimmer post confidently stated that it was an additional cost of $6,500, while a more recent post from an owner on Reddit said it was an extra $4,550. Another Reddit post from a few years ago claimed that BMW shut most requests for this down with only a few exceptions, with someone else stating that the dealer said, "No way on the Tartufo buckets." A lot of people echoed that sentiment, that their dealer told them no, but just as many people also claimed that anyone can do this, you've just gotta know how. Then the master of Tartufo himself says that there's a price difference depending on if it's an M3 or M4.
Next thing, M3 Tartufo buckets and M4 Tartufo buckets are not the same price. They're made in different plants.
And what I really couldn't get a good grasp of is exactly why these things are so rare. It's just a color after all, a color that BMW offers on most of their model range. And why is this color specifically a problem when literally every other leather option on the configurator can be spec'd with the buckets? I've seen people claim that the Tartufo leather is made at a different factory and that's the holdup, while the creator of the Bimmer post thread says that BMW themselves conspired to take Tartufo buckets off the public menu for marketing purposes, because they thought the buckets didn't look sporty enough in Tartufo. That Bimmer post thread created more questions than answers, with a lot of the owners being kind of gatekeepy and secretive about it. But by far the craziest thing I found was a sold Facebook Marketplace listing for a pair of them for $19,000. Seats have 1,200 miles on them. If you know, you know. There are estimated to be less than 100 sets of them worldwide. It sounds crazy, but it kinda tracks. One Bimmer post user created a Google sheet titled G8X Tartufo Carbon Bucket Seat Registry, which is their best attempt at tracking every known M3 and M4 with these seats worldwide. And as of recording this, the total count stands at 107, a figure that shook me to my core. For a mass production BMW, that is an insanely low figure, far lower than I imagined, and some of them are noted as possible duplicates. Now, it's likely that some cars evaded this registry, but the people updating this are certainly trying their best, and I feel like the kind of people buying these are more likely to make themselves known, if you know what I mean.
I've only really heard of a 2026 Daytona Beach Blue M3 competition X-Drive with carbon ceramic brakes and Tartufo buckets.
What? To put that number into perspective, Lexus made 500 LFAs, Mercedes made 275 AMG 1s, and McLaren made 106 F1s. Compare that to 107 known G8X generation M3s and M4s with Tartufo buckets. Obviously, there might be more, and this is just a superficial cosmetic option on a car rather than a $1 million+ supercar, but still, crazy. Things were getting serious, and I really wanted better answers, so I knew what I had to do next. I was honestly a little scared, not even about walking into a BMW dealer and asking about a potentially $10,000 option for a $90,000 car that, let me be honest, I am far from being in the market for, but just out of fear that I was asking for something forbidden that some dealers may even consider impossible, if not offensive. Would having such eldritch ball knowledge make me appear like a serious buyer? Was I setting myself up for something really awkward and for the salesperson disappointing? Or would I just kind of get laughed out of the showroom purely based on looks before I could even say the magic 2 words? I set my anxieties aside, entered the showroom, and put on the best performance I could. Hey, I'm doing like a research project on the M3 and I want to know if I could ask someone that like sells the cars a quick question about one of the options on them.
Somebody's available.
Okay. Yeah, so there's like a specific option that people say like you can't have it. It's like forbidden or something. It's called Tartufo Buckets.
Okay.
So it's like a specific leather color option on the bucket seats. If you go on the website, you can't have it. Every other color you can have, but you can't have Tartufo, but people have them. And I've seen some like come from this dealer and I just wondered how you, like, what is that? So what makes it, like, what's the issue? Like, why can't everybody just get it? Is it like an extra cost thing or?
I don't really know. I know there's a lot of things where like it has to like be specifically ordered as
the answer is yes every single time.
Like allocation,
Yeah.
we have to.
So that would suggest there's certain dealers that don't, like they can't do that?
I think everyone can.
Okay.
I think there's probably certain type of like priority list where certain dealers get them more often than others. But I think every dealer
Can do it?
should be
Okay.
able
Because that's
to
what
do
people were saying. They're like, if you get told that you can't do it, like, they don't know what they're doing. They're not trying hard enough.
No, yeah, it definitely can be done. It's just
Okay.
if the the option to do an individual order is available, then that's how we accomplish that. But otherwise, yeah, we just.
And it's just like a cost thing. It's not like you have to be someone special or have bought other cars. You just let anybody can do it. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, this was not a productive trip to New Jersey. It was incredibly busy at this dealership, and while it was nice of them to accept my silly request, the salesperson I talked to was clearly not aware of what Tartufo Buckets are, and was not able to give me any information that I didn't already know. This visit was honestly a huge disappointment. I had no new information, and I was no closer to actually seeing the things in real life. I considered visiting or calling another dealer, reaching out to owners on Instagram. I even left a post on the Bimmer post thread asking if any owners in the Northeast would be amenable to letting me see their car. After a week or two, it was clear that none of these methods would produce any results. I was discouraged and at a dead end. Then, one random day, I was scrolling Instagram and got an ad for a BMW dealer with listings of cars. The first car in the carousel was an M3, but the paint color stood out to me. I was pretty sure this was the individual color Angle Sea Green, one of my favorites. Out of curiosity, I clicked on the link and scrolled through the photos, and there they were, Tartufo Buckets. I couldn't believe my eyes. To find an example like this in such a random way felt like some kind of divine intervention, and even more surprisingly, the car was brand new. To find an M3 spec'd like this brand new actually available on the lot is crazy. From what I understand, the dealers have a certain allocation of cars available for them to order each month. When a customer wants to place a custom order, they're given one of those allocations. But if the dealer still has some left over or just wants inventory on the lot, they themselves spec those cars, and typically, those builds are going to be rather modest, since they're trying to sell cars as quickly as possible, and therefore want inventory that appeals to as many people as possible. To make matters even more interesting, it was a base model manual with basically every conceivable option on it, an $80,000 car with $30,000 of options on it. Almost 30% of the price is just options. It's a weird spec, and I immediately theorized that a customer must have ordered it and decided not to take delivery. Just based on the listing, I was able to gather that Tartufo Buckets don't cost extra, at least anymore and on the M3. Going on the configurator and matching this car option for option with a normal interior color and adding in the $4,500 for paint, the total is basically the same. Another interesting detail is that the interior color is listed as just carbon. This is not an officially recognized color in the system, which helps to make these harder to find on websites like AutoTrader. With at least one big question answered, I knew what I had to do next. I called up BMW of Fort Washington, asked if they would let me look at the car, which they very graciously said I could, and I immediately dropped everything and drove over.
There, it's in there.
Damn.
MC, make another hit.
This ain't what you want.
Project
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want.
Hi, I called about like 2 or 3 hours ago about filming one of the cars.
The people at this dealership were incredibly kind to me, especially considering that I'm not even a customer, so shout out to them.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Teamer is going to show you where the car is, take the video.
Awesome.
Go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You just park inside.
Okay.
You're looking at the M3, right?
It's the one with the Tartufo buckets.
Yeah, that's a special.
As they walked me over to the garage that they keep the M cars in, it was confirmed to me that this was indeed a customer's order that they didn't take. As for how you get them, yeah, it's just something you ask for, and if you're told no, you should go to BMW Fort Washington. The one question I still couldn't get an answer for is why Tartufo buckets are so rare and not configurable. It seems that might be a mystery only Munich knows the answer to.
Oh my god, there it is. Oh my god.
When I saw the car, I could barely contain my excitement. They unlocked it for me, and there they were, Tartufo buckets.
You're kidding me.
Damn.
MC, make another hit.
This ain't what you want.
Project.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. 1600 block. I just wanna rock. I just wanna. I just wanna rock. Body out of ya. Shorty got that body out of ya. Hit it once, no time. Set up, you gon' kill my vibe. Stand on my money, don't know my size. Pick them sides, and you better choose wisely. That's my
Tartufo carbon fiber buckets. Can't get them.